You are listening to The Vocal Technologist. Spoken tech for your ears.
Welcome to The Vocal Technologist. We are jumping right into, well, what else can you call it, but the absolute chaos and opportunity in the startup world right now.
Chaos is a good word for it.
Yeah, and for anyone out there who's building a company, it must feel like the goalposts are just shifting daily.
They are, and that's really why we've pulled all this together for you. The goal isn't just to, rehash the news. It's to find those non-obvious truths that are actually shaping who wins and who loses.
And on this Founder Friday reality check, we have to start, not with tech, but with the big picture, macroeconomics. Let's unpack the biggest shockwave first. I'm talking about Jerome Powell's warning that the AI hiring apocalypse is real.
It's a jarring phrase, isn't it? But
Yeah.
it captures this strange reality where the economy is growing, but the labor market is just starting to fracture.
What did he mean specifically?
Well, Powell noted that hiring at some of the really major companies is, and this is a quote, pretty close to zero.
Wow. Yeah.
Oh, pretty much. Because they're using AI to fill roles that just a year or two ago a person would have done.
And that puts the Federal Reserve in a terrible position, right?
Yeah.
A policy dilemma.
A devastating one.
Yeah.
You've got this sticky, stubborn inflation, which usually means you need to keep rates high.
Right.
But then you have this brand new, massive employment risk from all these productivity gains. So the Fed's trying to cut rates to help with the job losses, even though inflation isn't really where they want it to be.
And all those productivity gains, they're not trickling down. They're flowing to corporate profits.
Overwhelmingly
Yeah.
to the bottom line and to already highly paid groups. So
Yeah.
it's a really challenging environment to navigate.
Okay, so if the machine is replacing the worker, that must mean the financial rules for the companies building the machine have also changed.
And that's where you see the shift in venture capital. It's fascinating. The material we looked at makes this observation that VC isn't really behaving like a competitive market anymore.
Wait, hold on. How can it not be competitive?
Yeah.
They're all still fighting over the best deals, aren't they?
Well, the language of rivalry is still there, but the behavior is. It's risk averse. The same big firms are all crowding into the exact same handful of deals.
So they're competing on consensus, not on actual risk.
Exactly. They're not looking for the messy, weird, early-stage idea anymore. They're looking for pattern recognition. Does this look exactly like the last big thing that worked?
It's the institutional herd mentality winning out. Is that coming from their LPs, the people who fund the funds?
Absolutely. When interest rates were zero, VCs could take big swings, justify crazy burn rates. Now, if they bet on an outlier and it fails, their LPs are asking much harder questions, so they've retreated to what feels safe.
So the infinite game of VC, as they called it, is it's suddenly feeling pretty finite.
It's become about winning a sure thing, not just about keeping the game going.
And that's all tied to the new financial reality. High interest rates, no more cheap capital.
It's a complete 180. The old mandate for startups was rapid growth at all costs. That is gone.
So what's the new mandate?
Profitability, demonstrable cash flow. Founders have to get this in their heads. There are no more endless bridge rounds to save you. You need resilience, diverse funding options, and you have to be so careful about when you try to raise money.
And here's the paradox. While most of the market is tightening its belt, the AI sector itself is seeing these just mind-boggling valuations.
It's a total barbell market.
Yeah.
On one side, you have Mercor, right? They provide the human experts who train AI models.
The human infrastructure.
Exactly. And they just quintupled their valuation to $10 billion. Or Synthesia, the AI video company, they just pulled in $200 million at a $4 billion valuation.
So the money is still flowing, but only to very specific places.
Only to the infrastructure plays and the established leaders. And then you've got the king of the hill, OpenAI, with an annual revenue run rate over $20 billion.
A scale that's just, it's almost impossible to imagine.
It is, but here's the massive catch that the material highlights: the cost to play. That success is tied to future infrastructure commitments that could be as high as $1.4 trillion.
$1 trillion. That's not a real number.
It's a staggering liability, and it just makes you ask, who else can even afford to compete at that level?
Which leads to this kind of philosophical question that was raised.
Yeah.
What if the bubble isn't AI? What if the bubble is us?
The human bubble. I love that framing. For decades, we treated knowledge work, all that human bureaucracy, as sacred. We measured a company's value by its headcount.
And now AI is What's the phrase? Marking that bureaucracy tomorrow.
Exactly. In finance, marking to market is just finding the fair value of something right now. So if your marketing team used to cost you X, but a single AI agent can get you better results for a tenth of the price.
The fair market value of that human team just plummeted.
Instantly. AI is just exposing the massive inefficiency premium we've been paying for decades of white-collar work.
And that connects directly to why old SaaS pricing models are completely falling apart.
100%. SaaS used to charge per seat, right? Because the value grew with the number of people using it. But if one AI agent does the work of 10 people, that whole model just collapses. The pricing has to change because the value has fundamentally shifted.
Okay, so let's move from the macro to the micro. If the stakes are this high, founders have to be ruthless about execution.
Ruthless is the word. And that means fighting the urge to build what the material calls the maximum viable product.
The kitchen sink approach. Throw in every possible feature.
Don't do it. Instead, you have to right-size the vision. Start with a really, really tightly scoped problem that your team can actually solve right now.
Like the Gillette turnaround story. When Jim Kiltz took over, he had, 7 different turnaround plans on his desk?
Yeah, all of them big and complex. He threw out 6 of them on day one.
And focused on what?
The only thing that matters. For him, that was marketing discipline and focusing only on their core dry shaving products. He just ignored everything else. That's the kind of focus you need when capital is expensive.
And that focus has to extend to managing your own managers, which means managing your board. How do you lead those meetings instead of letting them lead you?
It's all about prep and control. First, send a tight, clear board pack 72 hours in advance. No excuses.
So everyone has to do their homework.
Right. And second, you control the agenda. You have to separate the performance review, the stuff that happened in the past, from the real strategy discussion about the future. Frame the decisions you need from them right up front.
We saw what happens when that trust and governance breaks down with the whole Sam Altman and OpenAI drama.
Oh, man. The ultimate cautionary tale. We learned that Ilya Sutskever's videotape deposition was key. He had written this memo for the independent board members.
And it wasn't about a difference in vision for AI safety or something like that?
Not primarily. It was about trust. He documented what he felt was a pattern of dishonesty from Altman, of undermining the very executives who were supposed to be the checks on his power.
So a fundamental breakdown in the governance mechanism.
That's it. If the board thinks the CEO is not being straight with them, it doesn't matter how successful the company is, your job is on the line.
Which brings us to the hardest scenario, failure. What's the advice for founders when things go south?
Protect yourself financially. You have to set clear boundaries, track your personal runway, and this is critical. Avoid taking on personal debt for the company.
And if it does fail?
Don't hide. The best advice is to accelerate the shift. Immediately start monetizing what you learned by doing advisory or consulting work and be open about the failure. It builds credibility and shows you're ready for whatever comes next.
Okay, let's pivot to product, because this is where the human fight back begins.
Yeah.
I love this counterintuitive idea. Why does ugly, clunky UI keep winning in the enterprise world, like ServiceNow?
Because the UI isn't the product. The real product is the machinery underneath it. It's the years of welded-in ticket flows, audit trails, and data.
The structure.
The structure. That ugly screen is just the door to this massive, stable, compliant system that big companies need. In that world, utility will always, always beat polish.
That makes so much sense. And it connects to this other idea, the primitive delight. We're
Right.
seeing tools that people love because they're simple.
Yes. Comfort rarely creates a real emotional connection. Look at Anthropic's AI coding tool. It's just white text on a black screen. Arrow keys, no mouse. It's actively primitive.
And developers love it. But why?
Because it reminds you that the computer is a real physical thing. You can feel the power. It's like with dbt, the data tool. Analysts love seeing the printed logs scroll by. It gave them this visceral sense of the machine working for them that a polished dashboard just can't replicate.
It's utility creating an emotion. Which brings us to 11 Labs, the voice company. They weren't founded in Silicon Valley.
Yep. Poland, London, Warsaw. And that distance became their superpower.
How so?
Their whole mission was born from the frustration of seeing human meaning get flattened by bad translation. They understood the nuance, the tone, the emotion that gets lost.
So being outside the bubble forced them to obsess over the human details.
Exactly. And their rules are super pragmatic. If research can't solve it in 3 months, just build a good product. And crucially, they work with creatives, paying artists for their voices instead of against them. It's a totally different mindset.
This all seems to circle back to the human element. There's this concept of the ice queen culture in tech, this obsession with logic and control, where any emotion is seen as a weakness.
And the argument is that this isn't a superpower. It's actually a fear response. It's a way to cope with chaos. But think about it. As AI automates all the rational work, all the optimization and calculation, what is left that is uniquely human?
All the messy, irrational stuff.
That's it. The ability to actually feel grief, awe, connection, vulnerability. The argument is that reclaiming those emotions, even crying, isn't a weakness anymore. It's the last truly irreplaceable human skill.
If your product is built only on logic, a machine will eventually do it better.
But if it's built on real empathy, it stands alone, which ties into the last big idea, developing taste. Taste isn't just what you like. It's how your preferences change after you've seen something that's objectively better.
Right. Once you've seen brilliant code, mediocre code just looks wrong. Your standard is reset.
And founders have to constantly be seeking out that better work, whether it's in design, code, or their own leadership.
So we've covered a huge amount of ground here. On one hand, there's this intense demand for financial discipline driven by interest rates and a timid VC market.
And on the other, there's this absolute necessity to embrace the messy, the primitive, the truly emotional side of building something people love.
You see the internet itself kind of breaking apart, moving away from the big public town square and back into smaller, more intimate spaces like DMs and Discord.
And we know that the one thing AI can't replicate is genuine human feeling.
So here's the final thought we want to leave you with. If developing taste means you have to constantly compare yourself to better work, what's the right comparison for you to focus on right now? Is it mastering the computational speed of the machine? Or is it mastering the emotional depth and vulnerability that will make what you build truly irreplaceable?
What path are you going to choose?
Spoken Tech, for your ears.